On behalf of the Faculty Senate, I would like to introduce Dr. Olson, who will be giving the State of the College address. This is what, 2014? So 2014. And one of the real pleasures of being president of the Senate is getting a chance to work closely with a lot of different factions in the college, but particularly with the president. And I got to know Dr. Olson some during the interview process, but certainly has been a great pleasure to already begin the year meeting with him, planning and thinking about what the year will be. And I'm really very much looking forward to this process and looking forward to hearing the state of the college and the plans for the year ahead. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Olson.
Thank you, Sean. You're very kind. Good afternoon, everyone. It's really good to see all of you again. Hope you've been enjoying the summer as much as Dr. Worsham and I have been of late. A lot of positive change has happened since the spring address in April, and I sense a real sense of excitement on campus. Let me begin with an update on our Board of Trustees. At its regularly scheduled meeting this month, the board appointed a new trustee member. Mr. John Yurchek is a prominent entrepreneur and philanthropist and a member of Daemen's Community Advisory Board, so we're lucky to have him. Now let's turn to facilities and campus-wide developments. I'm delighted to report that the recent board meeting, an independent auditor presented the results of this year's audit, and the college was applauded for responsible stewardship of our resources and skillful management of our enrollment. It was really great to hear, especially in light of the difficulties a lot of the other colleges are experiencing right now. Now, at the spring address, I announced that following several internet outages that we had, we were commissioning a consultant to review Daemen's IT structure and its practices and to make recommendations on how we can improve IT on campus. The consultant met with various constituencies on campus and submitted a formal report. I asked our two IT leaders to respond formally to the consultant's report. And based on the report and on the two responses, we've made some major changes in IT here at Daemen. We've combined the two separate IT operations into one campus-wide organization, and we've appointed Ms. Kelly Duran, Chief Information Officer. Now, we're also hiring a new systems administrator and upgrading our equipment. Please help me applaud our new CIO, Kelly Duran, in her absence. I ask, too, that you applaud for our other IT leader, Brian Wilkins, who continues to do a fabulous job with practically no staff. So, Brian. He does have staff, it's just practically no staff. I'm pleased to announce that following a national search, we've appointed Mr. Richard Schott to serve as our new Vice President for Business Affairs. Rick has nearly 20 years of experience in higher education financial management, both in public and private institutions, and currently he serves as the Associate Vice President at Erie Community College, and he previously served as Director of Finance and Administration at Medaille College. Now, prior to this, he served as a Vice President and as an Audit Manager. Now, in the search, we received 34 applications from across the nation. We interviewed a dozen and invited 4 finalists to campus. 2 of the 4 visited for a whole day-long interview sessions, and well, you see the result. Now, our controller, Lisa Arita, has been doing a superb job as acting VP, so please help me recognize her for her efforts. And she's got a fan club. Please also help me thank the search committee for the fabulous job they did in attracting a first-rate VP. Now, I'm extremely pleased that we were able to support a 2% salary increase this year. When the year's budget planning process began at the end of spring semester, it at first appeared that we would be unable to support any increase for a while this year. Our goal was a 3% raise, but the college was faced with a number of unexpected expenses, including a huge increase in our health care bill, a substantial increase in our payroll thanks to the state's mandated minimum raise hike, a steep fuel bill due to the severe winter, and a number of other expenses that were unexpected. So the vice presidents went back to the drawing board, and they were able to trim out enough items out of their budget request to justify the 2% raise. Now, I'm especially happy that Daemen was able to pull this off in light of what the other colleges were faced with this year. You can see on the screen how some of them fared this year in the process. Now, you'll notice that Medaille not only did not have increases this year, but actually cut everyone's salary. Now, let me share with you the data that the president of Medaille gave me just yesterday. And that's quite a sobering history at that particular college of their salary increases. Now, at Daemen, we'll continue to be fiscally frugal so that we can continue to offer salary raises well into the future, and that's the plan. Now, the official ceremony designating Rosary Hall as a historic landmark was held in July, and so now we have 2 official historic buildings on campus. The renovation of Canavan is now complete. We built 10 new resident rooms. They hold up to 19 students. And in it, we also constructed a state-of-the-art server room. And this is really the nerve center of the whole campus as far as technology. So we wanted to make sure that was a first-rate facility. We also, in Canavan, installed a new energy-efficient boiler and a fire suppression system, which is long overdue, especially since it's a residence hall. It won't be long, actually, before these very changes pay for themselves, and we're talking about the revenue from the rooms as well as the energy savings from this new heating system. So we're really excited about that. I think the projection was 2.5 years it would pay for itself. Our academic and athletics complex in the old YMCA is proceeding apace. Architectural plans are complete, and just today we received formal bids from 5 contractors, and we're in the process of reviewing those. The inside has been gutted, and the construction should begin in a few months, and we hope to occupy the building in in the fall, 2015. Our recent grant from Empire State Development has funded substantial improvements to the International Center for Excellence in Animation, which includes the transformation of our existing screening room into a state-of-the-art 79-seat movie theater that boasts a 3D projector and a full surround sound system. It also includes a green screen shooting stage and a student lounge that allows students to interact in a creative environment. We've taken a number of measures to improve campus safety recently. We upgraded several of our surveillance cameras to high-definition zoomable units, and we're also upgrading our external lighting to make the units much brighter, but using a fraction of the energy. I'm delighted to report that we've hired also the college's first ever facilities safety officer. He's responsible for assuring safety and compliance campus-wide, which will reduce risk and liability. For example, he'll make sure chemicals are used and stored properly, and that potentially dangerous machinery is not misused. He'll also make sure that there are no unsafe environments, such as items in stairwells or cords stretched across hallways and so on. Now, although we've always threatened to ticket drivers for parking violations here at Daemen, we rarely did. We're now ticketing systematically for the first time in Daemen history. And this might even have an effect on the parking situation. We're also continuing to make progress in the campus beautification program. Phase 2 of the tree challenge is underway, and we've upgraded landscaping throughout campus. We've placed decorative benches around campus. We recently replaced the array of yellow pipes and signs between Canavan and Duns Scotus with a landscaped island of sorts. We replaced the striped horses used to discourage parking at the end of parking aisles with, I think, somewhat more attractive planters. And we eliminated many unnecessary signs throughout campus with much more to go. In fact, on the screen you see 6 replaced by 2. So we're happy with that, and as I say, we're going to try to really dress things up even more. We began a 3-year program to repave the entire campus. Phase 1, as you already know, was completed right before the students arrived, and it involved coming in from the Gettsville and front entrances all the way up to Canavan, and will continue on until the whole campus is done. We dismantled a walkway that led out the main door of WIC and right directly into traffic, which was somewhat dangerous, and landscaped over it. And tomorrow, we will be installing an attractive fountain in its place. So hopefully we can discourage people from walking over the planters and onto the grass. But that's another struggle to be taken care of later. Just today, we signed a contract to install a decorative stone wall along the front perimeter of campus rather than the wrought iron fence we were looking at. You may remember that the wall had been our original goal, but we had abandoned it based on incorrect information, as it turned out. And guess what? We even have a donor who will pay for the entire cost of the wall. So, isn't that? In fact, I want you to know that all of the campus beautification initiatives have been paid for entirely by donors. Every single penny of these improvements are from gifts expressly for these initiatives. Every one. So. Now, we also began an internal beautification initiative. Working from the recommendations of a faculty staff committee, we used the first floor of Duns Scotus as kind of a pilot project. We painted the bright blue stripe out of the wall. We painted the mustard doors white, and we hung original artwork along the wall. The effect is to make the hallway seem like a little art gallery. And Kathleen Curtis generously donated the first 8 works of art for this project. So please help me thank her for her generosity. Are you here, Kathleen? Somewhere? I think she is, but I'm not sure. And also, please help me thank the committee that made the recommendations about the internal beautification. So if people like what they see there, then what the idea is to continue all the way down the hallway, then upstairs, and so until we make the whole building a little bit better. So that's the plan. So let us know if you like it or not. Finally, I'd like to introduce to you our facilities director, Don Phillips. In his short time in the position, he's done much to increase communication campus-wide and to bring about all of the improvements that you were seeing. So Don, would you, there he is in the back. He's guarding things, I think. Okay. And since we're at it, I'd also like to thank the entire facilities department for all they do for us. And clearly the slide that you see can't have everybody's photo, but nonetheless, we thank everybody, so all of them. We're continuing to have success raising the college visibility and reputation. Now, receiving the Chronicle of Higher Education's Great College Award this July has done much, I think, to put us on the national map. The award so impressed the Amherst Town Council that in August, they on their own issued a formal proclamation applauding the college. And then the New York State Assembly passed a resolution applauding the college as one of the best places to work in the region. So that was unexpected and nice coverage. And then also this summer, Daemen was ranked number 15 out of 40 in the best return on investment in the region. And this is a significant award given the present climate in higher education. So I hope all the parents of prospective students see that. Our Distinguished Leaders Lectures have done much to raise our regional and national reputation. Congressman Wasserman Schultz spoke here in May. The Consul General of India was here also. Mayor Brown spoke here this month. Senator Mike Ransenhofer and Assemblyman Ray Walter will be here in October. I think it's October 7th. And we're also getting substantial local exposure thanks to Bobby Mills' leadership role in the Amherst Chamber of Commerce. So thanks to you too, Bobby. Now, yes. The Daemen Voice is still doing a fabulous job of telling the Daemen story to many, many readers, and we're continuing to attract substantial local and national media attention. So on the screen, you can see we've attracted a coverage from a healthy balance of different media types. We also see the exact number of media outlets and the number of placements since our last meeting. Now, despite the misleading headline story recently in the Buffalo News, our student enrollment looks quite healthy. Again this year, several colleges dipped into their B and C list or did not make their class projections at all. We, on the other hand, exceeded our goals. We budgeted for 605 new students, and that's both first year and transfer, and we beat that number by 13. And we budgeted for a total undergraduate population of 1,765, and we beat that number as well. We're continuing to expand our footprint. The 3 slides you see on the screen detail where our college students are coming from, and it's increasingly more from outside of New York. We're doing a lot of aggressive recruiting. Now, part of our success derives from our expanded marketing. We introduced virtual open houses and live web chats with prospective students and parents. We created interesting videos for the web and YouTube and produced enticing new direct mail pieces. We added innovative electronic brochures to the web, and we increased our use of social media, which of course is where all the young people are nowadays. And we're continuing to expand our international recruitment efforts as well. Please help me thank the talented professionals in enrollment management for all the work they do every single day to attract students to our great college. Now, while we're on enrollment, I'd like to take a moment to stress to everyone in this room the importance of making every effort to retain our students through their full tenure as students. Every student who becomes discouraged and drops out is not only a loss to that student, but to us as an institution. Every student we lose is another we must try to replace as an incoming student, which, as you know, nationally is getting harder and harder to do because the number of college-age students is shrinking. So anything that you can do to help retain our students will help all of us. Now, let me be perfectly clear about this. This is not an invitation to lower standards, to inflate grades, to pass students that are undeserving. It's instead an invitation to be vigilant. If a student seems to be struggling, talk to him or her. You know, perhaps the student is struggling academically and can be directed to an advisor or the Student Success Center. Perhaps the student is struggling financially and can benefit from a visit to the financial aid office. Or perhaps the student is struggling emotionally and can benefit from a visit to the counseling center or one of our other advisors. Intervening before a student makes up his or her mind to leave Daemen can sometimes be the difference between success and failure. Now, Dr. Nair and Dr. Stedman will be leading Daemen's efforts to substantially increase our retention and persistence rates, and I hope you will help them, and I expect that in the years to come, with their able leadership, our graduation rates will rise sharply. Now, as you know, building institutional advancement is a special focus of the college, and I'm delighted to report that we are continuing to show substantial success there. Since our spring address, we've taken in $1.3 million in gifts and commitments. And on the screen, you can see some of the larger recent gifts. Not a bad showing, I think, but we're going to do better, I promise. Now, we recently got news that we have advance notice that we're going to receive a rare state of New York earmark of nearly $500,000 to create an advanced technology research center for our graduate students and faculty. And this is much needed, and it's going to help us quite a bit on the technological front. The Golf Classic raised over $55,000, netting about $25,000 for scholarships. And the annual fund totals are in too. Alumni giving rose, as did the average gift size, and giving by faculty and staff. So thank you all for your ongoing generosity in helping us build this great college, and I applaud all of you that have helped. There are exciting developments in student affairs as well. We welcomed our new vice president in May, and he's since brought a great deal of energy and excitement to the job. Dr. Nair, would you please stand to be recognized? We've transferred campus security from business affairs to student affairs, and we've renamed it Campus Safety. Now, the new title signals its attention to students and to safety as our main priority. There is an enhanced focus there on professionalism and service, and working closely with the private security firm that operates Daemen's security unit, we hired a new and experienced director and initiated a rigorous training program for all of the officers. We introduced new uniforms and badges, as well as a bike patrol to increase officers' presence on campus. Also in student affairs, we impaneled a task force to educate students about alcohol, drugs, and sexual assault. And in light of the national attention to campus sexual assault, we strengthened our assault policy and training, and so that's proceeding well as well. And finally, move-in day was the last Saturday of August, and 60, this is a record, 60 of our athletes assisted families move their students in record time. I even had several parents stop me and say that this was a wonderful, can you imagine this? Move-in day was a wonderful experience? But that's what they said. So anyway, let's thank the student affairs people that made this happen. There's also a great deal of excitement in athletics. We've appointed Professor Bridget Nyland, Director of Athletics, and as most of you know, she's an attorney and worked for the NCAA and currently does extensive consulting for colleges and legal firms on compliance and sports law issues. Bridget, if you're here, would you stand and be recognized? There you go. Besides Ms. Nyland, we have made a number of staffing changes that will position us well to enter and compete well in NCAA Division II. Recently, we announced at a press conference the appointment of a new men's basketball coach who will do much to lead us into NCAA, Mr. Mike McDonald, and you can see on the screen a snippet of his experience. He's well respected in the region and a real catch for us. So, Coach, if you're here, would you stand and be recognized? There he is. We've also promoted Jessica Gorski to Associate Athletics Director, and we hired a new Assistant Athletics Director for External Relations who has extensive media and fundraising experience, which of course will be useful for our move to new levels in athletics. Dawn, if you're here, would you rise and be recognized? There she is. So, as you can see, we have a first-rate leadership team in athletics and as we enter NCAA membership, and we're very excited about the future there. In August, athletics sponsored its second annual golf tournament at Daemen College and raised a respectable amount of money to be used for scholarships and some other uses. And finally, one of our alums has signed on to play professional ball, which is always a thrill for a lot of people. Academic Affairs has reported a number of exciting developments as well. I'd like to begin by introducing our newest members of the professoriate. I ask each of these new faculty members to stand as I name him or her, and to remain standing until all 16, imagine that, 16. Now, I seem to remember that some places are laying people off. Until all 16 are standing, and then we can applaud all at once. So let's start with Professor Carol Bartlow, Professor Elise Bello, Professor Josette Broadhead. I guess the new people are still out getting IDs. Professor Greg Chaika, Professor Hamish Daly, Professor Elizabeth Felsky, Professor Brianna Harris, Professor Janice Haba Gloss, Professor Julie Ann Hoffman, Professor Scott Holmes, Professor Aaron Joyle, Professor James Reiki, Professor Mike Ross, Professor Dan Shanahan, Professor Jay Wendland, and Professor Brian Rotniak. So let's applaud them. We also hired many new staff members. Would all of the new staff members rise so we can welcome you to Daemen as well? New staff members today? Some? Okay. Yeah. I can report that we had a very successful convocation. Many of you attended, and I thank you for your continued support of academic excellence. Also, our Chief Academic Officer, Dr. Brogan, has been named a Fulbright Specialist, a very prestigious honor. Let's applaud him. And we've just appointed a first-rate registrar with 19 years of experience in higher education and in management. Irene, would you stand and be recognized? There. All right. The first entering class of our new Masters in Public Health has begun with a respectable number of students. Please help me recognize the director of that new program, Brian Rotniak. Dr. Rotniak. Doctor. And I'd also like to recognize our visiting Fulbright scholar from Finland, Professor Riikka Alonen. Riikka, I just met you. There you are. Very excited about that. More and more national and international distinctions for us. While we're applauding excellence, we should also recognize Dr. Greg Schutz, chair of the Physician Assistance Program, for being named a commissioner of the discipline's National Accreditation Agency. That's quite something. So, yep. And in the last 2 weeks, we have had 4 nationally renowned scholars on our campus to speak. Regina Grohl, Stanley Fish, Jerry Graff, and Kathy Birkenstein. And a scholar of cultural studies and a critic, Henry Giroux, will be here on October 16th. So again, we're getting lots of people saying they love going to this various kinds of speakers on campus, the political ones, the academic ones. So it's what a good college is all about. So keep up the good work, Academic Affairs, for bringing all these good people in. And finally, we've had recently 2 substantial grants, one to provide advanced education for primary care nurses, and another to help train trainers to work with individuals with disabilities. So congratulations to all of the faculty working on those projects. The college, our faculty, and our staff continue to win regional and national awards and honors. Let me mention just a few, and let's hold the applause on these until I've mentioned all of our colleagues. The U.S. Green Building Council presented Daemen with a certificate of recognition for outstanding environmental stewardship. The town of Amherst named Daemen this year's Best Business Supporter of the Arts. And the town also honored our own Professor Christian Branges as this year's Best Individual Artist. Dr. Mimi Stedman, Associate Vice President for Institutional Effectiveness, is one of 32 administrators in higher education nationwide selected by the Council of Independent Colleges for a year-long Senior Leadership Academy. And similarly, Frank Williams, Daemen's Dean of Admissions, was chosen for participation in the College Board's Enrollment Leadership Academy, another unique national distinction. Vice President Rich Ann Mankey won the Bernice Poss Award, and she was also named one of Western New York's Women of Influence. And Dr. Isaiah Marshall was named Health Leadership Fellow by the Health Foundation of Western and Central New York. Jessica Gorski won the 30 Under 30 Award. And Dr. Andrew Wise was named Citizen of the Year. I think I like that one a lot, that's Citizen of the Year. One of our recent graduates and now employee, Ms. Samantha Mariana, was named Human Resource Student of the Year. So let's applaud all of these talented award winners. And the ones that I forgot to mention, because I'm sure there are plenty. Now, I repeat what I said in the spring address. Please remember to nominate our colleagues for all appropriate regional and national awards whenever possible. As we all win awards, Daemen shares in the glory, so you just can't get enough of that. So remember to always put people up for these things. Finally, a few other new initiatives. Daemen has outgrown Klein hands for our commencement. Too many spectators were forced to stand up or view the ceremony from monitors in the lobby, and this is totally unacceptable. So beginning this academic year, we're going to sponsor 2 annual commencement ceremonies, the main undergraduate ceremony at the usual time, which, as you know, is Saturday at 2:30, and a graduate ceremony later that same day at 7 p.m., which will also be special in its own right. And this will allow us to make everyone happy on what should be a very, very special day for all the parents and students and so on. And in fact, what we'll do as well is what we haven't been doing, which is now actually encourage more people to go to convocation, because in the past we were always afraid too many might come and these kinds of problems would happen. So details will be forthcoming this semester, and as they work out the fine points of how it will work. Now, last year I promised Faculty Senate's then president, Dr. Michelle Flint, that I would ask the Board of Trustees to to create the honorific title of Distinguished Professor. And I've since kept this year's, that promise. I kept this year's President Sean Kelly in the loop, and I'm delighted to report that at this month's board meeting, the trustees approved our request. And as you know, this is traditionally a college's highest faculty distinction. It's usually reserved for a small elite of the college's most accomplished professors. And so I will ask the college's Chief Academic Officer, Dr. Brogan, and Senate Head, Dr. Kelly, to work together to determine, first of all, if we should implement this new distinction, and if so, what an appropriate process would be to carry it out. I also promised to work to attract external money to fund named professorships. And I'm proud to report that a donor has just agreed to fund the college's first endowed named scholarship, but I cannot announce the details because we don't have the signed agreement yet. But this would be available to existing professors, available on a competitive basis. There would be an annual stipend to the person who's selected, the stipend to help for research and so on. So I'll let you know as soon as we have the details with the signature on the contract. So, but this is a good move forward, and I promise we're going to get more of these. This is just the first. And finally, it's been a long-standing tradition here at the college to thank faculty and staff for their hard work by providing a pretty generous holiday break so that you can enjoy the time with family and friends. So as a token of that appreciation, the college will be closed. The cabinet just decided this. Wednesday, December 24th through Monday, January 5th. So I hope you enjoy the holidays and have a good time while you're doing that. Much needed relaxation, I think, during that time. So as you can see from the report today, Daemen has much to be proud of, and we're making rapid and substantial progress. We're more and more a college of national distinction, and thanks to the hard work of every single person in this room. And I'll continue to keep you informed about campus developments, and I plan to hold a town hall forum again later this semester like we did last time. And I look forward to working together with each and every one of you in the years to come. So thanks for your attention this afternoon, and I hope you'll enjoy us now for refreshments and collegial conversation and live music in a minute. So thank you.